Fin pin retract and fin sweep.
Hey guys, Button 25 here, watching launch of Icon on Pegasus. This is the second launch attempt of the day.
LC, Senior MEFCO, countdown L1011 is in the box.
Dude, that's the fins being moved. There were issues with contact in the plane last time, so...
Heading and ground speed are green.
LC Peg. Peg is go for launch.
LC is go for launch. PLT confirm. Stand by.
Oh, don't tell me I can't contact them again.
And drop on my mark.
Oh.
3, 2, 1, drop.
Pegasus away.
Fortunately, there's not that.
Vehicle is fully armed.
That's the ignition.
Stage 1
Pegasus
ignition has been
XL,
confirmed.
Launching Icon to explore and unlock the mysteries of the weather where Earth meets space.
Really? Wouldn't
Transonic. Power buses remain strong.
already? Wow. Yeah, there she goes.
Stage 1 fin actuator system is operating nominally and controlling the aerodynamic flight of the vehicle.
You can see the L10
Coming up on
turning
30
to the left.
seconds into the Icon mission.
Fortunately, there's not time, so we're going to have to deal with this. Animation.
Vehicle has passed through max Q. Attitude remains nominal. All power buses nominal. All vehicle subsystems are operating as expected.
Good.
Stage 1 burnout in approximately 20 seconds.
What are you going in Mach 7 or like 6 or 7 almost? Oh, there she goes.
Stage 1 has burned out. Attitude and the flight path are nominal.
Yeah, you can definitely see it burning out, and I don't think that's just passing by.
Approximately 10 seconds until stage 1 separation.
Yeah, it should happen quickly with this one.
Stage 1 separation confirmed.
Stage 2 ignition.
Stage 2 ignition has been confirmed and attitude is nominal.
I think that's stage 2 burning and not
Stage 2 TVC is
That's
operating
stage two
as
burning,
expected
that's
to
stage one
control the
falling
flight
away.
of the vehicle. Approximately 20 seconds until fairing jettison.
There are some people there, like the ones
Fairing
going
deployment
from
has
the
been
bottom to
confirmed.
Dubai.
Both halves have been
You
separated.
can see those falling away. There are other
Vehicle
aircraft
attitude
in the
remains
area.
nominal after fairing separation.
Even the Miami, Madrid, Air Europa 787, those passengers are probably getting a show. Because they're looking out their window. Yeah, it's fine. So suddenly,
Power buses remain strong with excellent margin.
other than again, they'd probably be trying to get to sleep.
Stage 2 motor burnout. Attitude remains nominal. At this point in the mission, the vehicle enters a long ballistic coast phase as it gains altitude, waiting for the proper time to ignite the Stage 3 motor. Good telemetry with S-band on Stage 3. We've got report from GNC that vehicle performance to this point is excellent. The vehicle flight computer is currently recalculating the proper time for Stage 3 ignition.
No, because that's like a G kick motor.
All right, so there we go. What you're seeing right now is actually an infrared camera that's based here at the Kennedy Space Center, and it's been able to track that. We didn't show you this earlier because there were clouds in the way. So as the rocket flew up above the clouds, we were able to get a picture of it. So we could even see the payload fairing separate and come off. So it is a really, really pretty night out. It's nice and beautiful, hearing lots of nominal calls, which is what we want to hear. I want to talk a little bit about Icon now, because as Pegasus will round out its job soon, Icon really does become the star of the show. So a few things. It has about the size and mass of a home refrigerator. It's deployed to about 27-degree inclination at 360 miles in altitude. So that's a little bit higher than the space station as far as its altitude is concerned. And the inclination is especially noteworthy because a lot of these kinds of science missions will have polar orbits, will then move from north to south pole. This one is flying much more equatorially. And it's going to be traveling at over 4 miles a second when it reaches its orbit. That's one orbit every 97 minutes, so roughly 16 orbits every day. That's the same speed just about as flying from Los Angeles to New York in about 12 minutes. So this thing is moving very quickly. I'm very excited for this. Continuing to hear those calls for nominal action, which is what we want to hear. I want to go ahead and actually toss this to an overview of the ICON mission in general. So go ahead and take a look now about this, some more about the science of ICON.
Let us do that.
Up past the clouds, past the stratosphere, and even farther, some 60 to 600 miles above Earth, our atmosphere slowly gives way to space. This region, the ionosphere, is home to the aurora, but is also increasingly a key part of the human domain. It houses not only astronauts, but radio signals used to guide airplanes and ships, and many satellites. And yet, the ionosphere is not well understood. To explore this area of near-Earth space, NASA and UC Berkeley built the Ionospheric Connection Explorer, or ICON. ICON's task is to help us understand just what causes the constant changes we see in the ionosphere. The more we understand, the more we can protect our assets in space. From a position close to Earth, ICON samples variations in the ionosphere over the course of hours, days, and seasons. The mission will investigate how the ionosphere reacts to our planet's weather rising up from below, as well as space weather from above. A key set of the mission's observations focus on the most eye-catching phenomena visible in the ionosphere: airglow, colorful bands of plasma caused by solar radiation. ICON will use specialized technology to track how this plasma is moving through the ionosphere. As ICON learns more about the relationship linking Earth's atmosphere and the space environment, the information will help improve the ability to predict conditions in the ionosphere. One more important step in protecting ourselves as we venture farther and farther from home.
The reorientation maneuver for Stage 3 ignition has been complete, and the attitude of the vehicle is nominal. Stage 3 TVC is online.
Descending from 35,000.
Stage 2 has been separated.
Okay, so stage 3 will be ignited soon. It's got a pair.
There you go. Some really great calls there. So we just heard that's the round out of the second stage finishing its job, and the third stage beginning its task moving forward. It has a little over a minute to burn as the third stage. There again, a great nominal call on that. So everything proceeding well. We continue to hear great reports. The people here, you can feel the energy.
Rating nominally.
Everyone is really excited about this mission and having it on its way to where it needs to be.
Vehicle attitude remains nominal.
What you're seeing on screen is an animation with some data there on the right-hand side, kind of just tracking where this thing is right now on its way to its orbit.
Vehicle is now in orbit.
Indeed. And stage 3 is burned.
All right, a phenomenal
have
call there.
Stage 3 burnout confirmation. Attitude remains nominal. Looks to be an on-target orbit for ICON.
You must remember.
Awesome. I'm joined now by
booster.
Allison Powers, Pegasus business manager for Northrop Grumman. How does that feel to hear that call of, we're in orbit?
Wonderful.
We made it. we did.
It's a great feeling.
It's been a long time, but it's great. Can you tell us a little bit about your role for Pegasus?
Yeah, I'm the business manager for Pegasus, which includes finance, new business opportunities, and just program control kind of roles.
Sure, that's great. So can you characterize kind of how has today's launch gone so far?
Well, one of our favorite words, as you mentioned, is using, that we use during launch is nominal. It might not sound very exciting, but in our world, it means that everything is looking good and on track. So right now, Pegasus is doing what is expected and doing good.
Perfect. So what's coming up next? What's kind of, because we're not done yet. We have a few more minutes to go here, but so what's coming up?
So what's coming up, we're in a coast phase. It lasts about 4.5 minutes. Stage 3 ignition is being computed real time by the vehicle onboard guidance system based on the flight so far. The stage 3 burn will last about 70 seconds. At burnout, the Pegasus rocket and Icon spacecraft will be traveling in excess of 17,000 miles per hour and have successfully achieved orbit. About 3 minutes later, payload separation will occur.
Awesome. So when payload separation occurs, that's the victory moment for Northrop Grumman, right?
Not necessarily. This is actually the 9th time that Pegasus has launched a Northrop Grumman built satellite. So when the Pegasus team's job is done, the Icon spacecraft team will kick in and start its mission.
So hopefully a little bit of a taking a breath to rejoice, but then obviously it's time to get back to work.
Right. Yep.
Pretty cool. Again, you're seeing on screen that animation. We said we were in a long coast phase. That's what you're seeing there now. So, Allison, what's next for Northrop Grumman? Obviously, it's been a big year for some other things going on with Northrop Grumman and aerospace. With Pegasus, obviously, this is great. So what's the future look like?
Yeah, so along with Pegasus, Northrop Grumman is actively working ground operations at KSC for our Omega rocket that's under development. We're currently modifying the mobile launch platform, one of them, and the vertical assembly building high bay 2. Preparing for our launch at LC-39B in 2021. And cool fact, we're actually the first commercial company to utilize the historic vehicle assembly building.
Yeah, we're excited for all of our commercial partners, and Northrop Grumman definitely fits into that constellation for us. We're excited to have them there. Obviously, Northrop Grumman is... Clearly, they know what they're doing. We're here. We're on our way to orbit. We got a great spacecraft to work on. So, Allison, excited for you guys, excited for what's coming with Omega, and excited to see just the future of what you guys are doing. Brand new rockets are always fun.
Thanks. We're always excited to support NASA's critical space missions.
Allison, congratulations to you and the entire team. I'll let you go now and go celebrate a little bit.
Okay.
Once we get that spacecraft deployed successfully, solar arrays are out. So, thanks and congrats again.
Thank you, Josh.
Still no telemetry in the center. Waiting for confirmation of icon separation.
I mean, in all honesty, this is probably just a transmission issue. But if after all of this shit show this launch failed...
So I'm now joined by Steve Krein, Vice President of Civil and Commercial Satellites for Northrop Grumman. Steve, how you feeling?
Oh, feeling great. So far, so good. Everything, to use Allison's terminology, is nominal. So we're excited about that. And we're getting very close to separation of the what we call the observatory, which is the space vehicle built by Northrop Grumman, and the 4-instrument suite. So it's interesting. At launch, the observatory, there's a lot of inhibits that are actually enabled. We have inhibits on the all the instruments are off. We have the main attitude control system, the reaction wheels, torque bars, all the solar array release mechanisms, solar array drive, and all the transmitters are in inhibit. So we don't have any anomalous deployments or any spurious signals during the launch campaign. But at separation, then an autonomous sequence begins, and the transmitters actually start about 10 seconds after separation. We'll actually communicate with the TDRS network and start giving us telemetry. So we're looking forward to that. It's about to happen, and cross your fingers. All's nominal.
Yeah, it is kind of that. It feels like a cross your fingers moment, but ultimately, like, you guys are really experienced. You know what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure again with the last year and kind of the work that's been done, you guys have a high level of confidence that things will turn on like they should.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a very good point. That we had a longer delay than we would have liked before the launch, but we did go through a very I'll say very controlled and very disciplined recertification process. It's called comprehensive performance testing, where we exercise all the elements on the spacecraft and then did a full solar array deployment just to make sure that there'd be no issues when we came to this critical moment, which we're about to come upon. So again, a very high level of confidence, and all is nominal.
Awesome. And so, will you play an active role going forward in the science as far as Northrop Grumman's concerned?
Well, certainly we'll be involved. We have a team right now out at the University of California, Berkeley, at the Mission Control Center to help with the initial certification. Following the release, as I mentioned, the transmitter will begin being enabled. The reaction wheels then and the torque bars will be enabled, and the spacecraft will stabilize. And then about a minute after release and separation, the solar array will begin to deploy, and it's a 5-panel array. So it's it takes a little bit of time. We want to make sure it's disciplined and controlled in its deployment.
Sure.
So it's about a 9-minute and 10-second deployment. But once that's out and rigidized and we acquire the sun, really the excitement for the day is over. And then we go into about a week-long process of just going through what I'll call the spacecraft bus certification to make sure everything's nominal, that everything's working as expected. And we fully anticipate that to be the case. And once that's done, then we'll start a 3-week period where the instruments are turned on in a sequential fashion. We verify that everything's nominal. And then finally, at about a month after separation, we start what's called science mode. And really that's the long-awaited period where we get the really high-value data back from the instrument and begin about a two-year process of really just collecting data and distributing to the science community to get the maximum utility for NASA, the science community, and for the nation.
Yeah. Steve, obviously there's so appreciative of the technical work that you all do.
Sure.
Again, congratulations on what's happened so far. Again, we have a few minutes left, but I'm going to let you get out of here and go kind of watch this thing kind of unfurl itself and just enjoy it with your team.
Thanks, Josh. It's a great moment, and look forward to mission success. Thank you very
Steve.
much. Yep.
I don't think that's a good sign. We may have had an anomaly.
All right, so we are listening closely for updates here as we proceed towards the solar array deployment. We're going to actually let you see a little bit more about the science and air glow.
The night sky is never truly dark. If you removed light pollution, the moon, stars, and galaxies, there would still be a very faint, colourful glow. That's air glow. With cameras, you can photograph it only on the darkest of nights. It's about 1/10 as bright as the combined light of all the stars. From above, it forms a luminous bubble encapsulating Earth. Appearing right at the interface to space, airglow holds clues to how our atmosphere affects weather in space, and how space weather affects humans on Earth. The bands of light span from 50 to 400 miles above Earth's surface. In the uppermost boundary of the atmosphere is the ionosphere. This is where our GPS signals and astronauts travel. What makes this region complicated is that it's constantly changing. It reacts to both energy emanating from the sun and weather near Earth's surface. And as the ionosphere fluctuates, so can conditions in near-Earth space where the space station lies. But spotting changes in the ionosphere is a lot like trying to watch the wind. You need a marker of some kind to see the invisible particles move past. And for that, we have airglow. These colourful lights reflect changes in the ionosphere, and this is due to the way it's formed. Our atmosphere consists mainly of nitrogen and oxygen, and small traces of other molecules. When these molecules reach the upper atmosphere, they're at the mercy of the sun. Ultraviolet radiation from sunlight excites them. They become energized and need to release that extra energy in some way. Atoms that remain energized long enough can emit that extra energy through light. In the lower atmosphere, we don't see as much light. The atmosphere there is dense. So when an atom becomes energized, there's a high chance it will bump into another atom and lose energy in that collision instead of emitting light. But as you travel further up, the atmosphere thins out. And like a game of dodgeball, the longer atoms stay untouched, the more time they have to emit a bright, colourful photon for us to see. That's why airglow is only seen in the upper atmosphere. But it can get even more complicated. Some collisions can produce light too. On the night side of Earth, green light is the brightest and occurs when oxygen atoms become excited through collisions with oxygen molecules. A variety of other complex reactions create red and blue light, as well as UV and infrared light that are invisible to the human eye. Each type of airglow contains information about the composition, temperature, and density of the upper atmosphere, all of which are key factors that can change dramatically and rapidly. So airglow turns out to be a fantastic proxy, illustrating not only how particles move through the ionosphere, but what kinds of particles even exist there, which is key information for helping us tease out how space and Earth's weather interconnect. And that's a great reason for NASA to study this beautiful phenomenon.
All right, I'm now here with NASA Launch Manager Omar Baez. Omar, congrats.
Thank you.
Does this one feel special, or is this just like another great launch for Launch Services Program?
It's another great launch for the Launch Services Program, but an awesome and great one. This one's been a long time in coming. We had some setbacks early on, middle of last year, and I'm glad that we were able to get this payload up in orbit and in a safe condition. We did confirm separation through the spacecraft TDRS link. The orbits look fantastic, and currently they're power positive, so everything looks fantastic for us. And a wonderful Pegasus launch, and like always, when your launch pad is moving at 500-600 miles an hour, things happen, and this time the first attempt got us because we lost positive communication with the aircraft and the ground, and our rule is to abort the flight, go back around and try it again. And we did this once before during the HESI mission back in 2003, and were able to execute it flawlessly today.
Does that cause any additional anxiety among the team when you kind of have to racetrack like that?
I don't know about anxiety. This is a fun launch. It's for it in my operational function. This is about as good as it gets, and we enjoy it. The anxiety level is higher, the adrenaline's flowing, but what a cool way to fly.
Yeah, absolutely. So thinking about Launch Services Program, obviously this is the name of the game for you guys. What's next? What's coming up?
The next mission for us is the Solar Orbiter mission, which is, or SOLO. It's a cooperative with our partners from the European Space Agency, and it's another Helio mission. So interested in looking at the sun with that one, and we hope to launch it in early February.
Awesome. Will you be the launch manager for that one?
That will be Tim Dunn.
Okay. And your next mission is?
And I will be working Mars 2020 this summer.
Which is also super high profile. Obviously, we'll get there when we get there.
Yep.
We've got Solo to go first.
Yep.
But again, a big congratulations to you, Omar, to the entire team. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you. Also, big thanks to Malcolm Boston for joining me riding shotgun as my co-commentator. So for tonight, from Hangar AE, that's going to be all. Jennifer, back over to you.
Thanks, Joshua, and thank you for joining us. For more on the mission, please visit nasa.gov/icon. In the meantime, we'll leave you with a replay of this evening's launch. From all of us here at NASA, thank you and have a great night.
Morning.
1, drop.
Cheers. That was launch 5.
Pegasus away.
I'm Boston 25.
Vehicle is fully armed.
Goodbye.